APD officer is still in the hospital fighting for his life after a minor drug bust went terribly wrong. Police say that undercover sting on Friday ended with a lieutenant opening fire on a fellow officer. That officer is still in critical condition and has gone through multiple surgeries. According to the criminal complaint, a pair of undercover detectives had just picked up Edmund Vester and Damian Bailey to buy drugs from them. The detective in the driver's seat then signaled to her fellow undercover officers to come in and make the arrest. News 13 learned Lieutenant Greg Brackle then opened fire on the car, critically injuring the detective in the back seat. APD will not say why Brackle pulled the trigger or how many times the detective was hit.
We hope that the multi-jurisdictional officer-involved shooting team finishes up those interviews in the next couple of days. But until we have all the information put together and those interviews done, we just don't know.
The two drug suspects, Bailey and Vester, were both arrested and are booked on $30,000 bonds. They are not facing any weapons-related charges. As we learn more on the condition of the officer shot and uncover new information on what happened, we'll be keeping you updated on air, and you can read the criminal complaint and watch the full APD briefing online at KRQE.com. The feds are looking for a woman who robbed a credit union in Gallup. The FBI and police say the crook walked into the First Financial Credit Union around 11:50 yesterday morning. She gave a note to the teller demanding cash and then took off with the money. She's described as Hispanic, under 5 feet tall, about 120 pounds, with black hair. Authorities are investigating whether she's the same woman who robbed a bank of Albuquerque in the metro area on Thursday. Anyone with information is asked to call the FBI. The FBI is offering a $1,000 reward for information leading to a conviction. Police say the woman who was killed in a crash overnight Friday was not wearing her seatbelt. New Mexico State Police are still investigating. Around 8 Friday night, police say 56-year-old Yolanda Filario from Bloomfield lost control of her truck. It hit the median on I-25 just south of Belen. The truck rolled over several times and Filario was ejected. Police say she was not wearing a seatbelt. It's unclear if alcohol or speed played a role in the crash. Let's send a chill down the spine of the community when a runner was sexually assaulted last month on a popular Northeast Albuquerque running path. But last night, the community came together to take a stand and make a statement. As News 13's Cole Miller reports, they did that by taking back the trail.
We are not going to tolerate this, and we are not going to make excuses for sexual assault.
The message was loud and clear.
And if one of us is hurt, the rest of us will come.
And they did just that. Hundreds of people came together to walk and run just weeks after a sexual assault last month near the Bear Canyon Arroyo.
That we're the eyes and the ears of the community. We're strong, and we're still going to be on our trails, and people can't take us off the trails just by violence.
Runners gathered at El Oso Grande Park near Morris and Osuna to take back the trail.
The response was astounding.
Wendy Wiggins with the Albuquerque Roadrunners organized the event.
It's an isolated incident, but we really have to look out for each other.
My wife actually runs this trail also a few times a week, so it's important for us to show our support so we can get back out on the trail.
Police released this sketch of the man they say attacked that woman on December 21st. This is just the second time there has been a Take Back the Trail event. The first one took place after a woman was raped in the Bosque back in June of 2013.
There are course marshals along the course, and the course is marked.
Wiggins and everyone else hopes this one is also the last one.
And now it just feels like a safe place again, and I wanted to give the community that feeling too.
Cole Miller, KRQE, News 13.
It wasn't just runners who showed up. Organizers say neighbors and those working to help sexual assault victims also rallied behind the cause. A lemur has died at Albuquerque Zoo after it was attacked by an ape. Biopark officials tell us one of its blue-eyed black lemurs died yesterday morning. This is video of when the exhibit opened in 2012. A siamang broke into the neighboring lemur exhibit and bit Buddy and Junior on their tails last week. The head vet says Junior's health declined quickly.
He was doing great for the first couple days and then just started to head south. So he was getting intensive care and wasn't responding, and decided he'd had enough this morning.
The animals are no longer exhibited next to each other. The other lemur that was attacked, Buddy, is still recovering. Now, in October, Jasper the Tasmanian devil died, and it's unclear how. Originally, officials said someone threw a piece of asphalt at Jasper, but in December, they suggested it may have been an accident. An out-of-control camel killed 2 people in Texas yesterday. It happened at this farm called Camel Kisses. The Wichita County Sheriff says a man went into a pen to break up ice in the water trough. That's when the sheriff says a camel charged. A woman who owned the farm tried to close the gate to the area, but the camel was too fast and trampled both people to death. Game wardens killed the camel. The sheriff says the camel was acting aggressively because it was getting ready to breed. A minor drug bust turned tragic. The sting ended with a lieutenant opening fire on a fellow officer, critically injuring him. News 13's Emily Younger has the latest.
Those paramedics saved his life.
Officers swarmed UNM Hospital in support of one of their undercover detectives who was shot in the line of duty yesterday morning by a fellow undercover cop.
As you can imagine, he's devastated.
News 13 has learned Lieutenant Greg Brackle is the one who shot that undercover officer. As to why he pulled the trigger, police won't say. According to the criminal complaint, it all happened during an undercover drug bust.
They were out there working this case as a result of the community outcry of the narcotics activity that was occurring in this area.
Police say 2 undercover detectives, who News 13 is not naming, were in this black car, one in the front seat, the other in the back. They had just bought $60 worth of meth from 2 suspects, Damian Bailey and Edmund Vester, when the officer in the driver's seat signaled for another detective to move in. We've learned shortly after, Lieutenant Brackle opened fire at the car, critically wounding the detective in the back seat.
But remember that these officers are out there putting their lives in the line, trying to protect our community.
It's unclear if either of the suspects had a weapon. In fact, the criminal complaint doesn't mention the shooting at all. It simply says, quote, both individuals were taken into custody. We asked Chief Gordon Eden why the details were left out.
And the information is still very limited as our investigators from our multi-jurisdictional shooting task force continues to do the interviews.
Emily Younger, KRQE News 13.
Because this was an undercover operation, neither of the officers were wearing protective vests or lapel cameras. The other officer who was in the car when the shooting happened did have minor injuries, but is okay. Vester and Bailey are both charged with trafficking drugs. They're each booked on $30,000 bonds. As we learn more on the condition of the officer shot and uncover new information on what happened, we'll be keeping you updated on air, and you can read the criminal complaint and watch the full briefing APD gave us online at krqe.com. Meanwhile, the officer shot a week ago by a DWI suspect is still recovering. APD says Lou Golson has been moved to UNM Sandoval Regional Medical Center, where he underwent a 3rd surgery. Police say Golson was shot 3 times during a traffic stop last Saturday morning by career criminal Christopher Cook. French police are on high alert during a large rally in Paris, the march commemorating the victims of recent terror attacks. This is a live look right now at that march getting underway. Plenty of world leaders are on hand, including prime ministers. More than 2,000 police officers are positioned throughout the city at key spots. The march honoring the 17 victims killed by al-Qaeda-inspired gunmen. 2 of the gunmen killed 12 people at the offices of satirical magazine Charlie Hebdo, which had printed cartoons depicting the Prophet Muhammad. 3 gunmen were killed in standoffs with police on Friday. Officials are still looking for a 4th suspect in connection, a girlfriend of one of the gunmen. They say she may have already fled to Syria. Meanwhile, a German newspaper that printed Charlie Hebdo pictures says it was attacked by 2 arsonists overnight. Police say they have caught the 2 responsible. The Hamburg tabloid says the fire destroyed several files, but no one was injured. Several other national and local German newspapers also published the cartoons. They're now under police protection. A computer-stealing crook is caught on camera. It's a brazen burglary taking place in the middle of the day.
And what if I'm here while someone is breaking in? I mean, I'm scared.
Surveillance video shows a man peeking around Ira and Mel Strong's home in northeast Albuquerque. He tries a back door before getting in through a sliding door on Friday. The couple says a laptop and less than $100 were stolen during the burglary. That laptop had information Ira Strong uses to teach underprivileged kids about astronomy. They got a notification the laptop was near Central and Tramway. They went to the area and handed out pictures, but no one recognized the man. Mel Strong says the camera system with crystal clear video was a wise investment considering what he heard from his neighbors.
I've heard stories about people getting broke in through the back door, middle of the day.
APD's online crime mapping shows at least 3 other burglaries have taken place in that neighborhood over the last month. 2 New Mexico boys are in Seattle with a crack at the punt, pass, and kick championships yesterday. 7-year-old AJ Manning of Rio Rancho and 11-year-old Tyler Jensen of Albuquerque competed. They won the state competition for punt, pass, and kick and the regionals in Phoenix, and both were in the final 40 left standing, but came up short in their bid to win. Arizona's NFL squad, the Cardinals, gave them a shout out on Twitter anyway.